Do your homework. Hey, if you're going to ask me that question, do your homework.
The guy's a liar.
He's a big motherfucking idiot.
All right, fight fans. You know the face, you know the name.
Dana White normally.
Dana White.
Dana White.
Dana White. The man.
Mad dogging me for it.
The myth.
If I put this belt on you.
The undisputed force behind the UFC. He's built an empire, seen it all, and he sure as hell isn't afraid to tell you what he thinks.
Oh, you are a reporter. Not telling you what choice to make.
Unfiltered.
A leash?
Like free speech.
In your face.
Nothing about the business, he knows nothing about the sport, and he's not very bright.
Once you get on his bad side, there's no holding back.
Okay, I said, are you out of mind? What are you doing?
Today, we're diving deep into the moments where Uncle Dana absolutely exploded. These are his most furious, most legendary angry moments, caught on camera. You ready? Let's go. Pissed off at Matt Riddle for failing drug tests. First up, a classic, Dana White's fury over fighters failing drug tests.
Now, the reason he's not in the UFC anymore is because he could not pass a drug test.
Specifically, when Matt Riddle couldn't stay away from the sticky icky. Dana doesn't just get mad. He takes it personally. Back in 2013, after failing a second drug test for marijuana metabolites.
To the government, I guess it's against the law in some states or whatever, but where I'm from, in Nevada here, it's legal. I'm a legal patient.
Matt Riddle was cut from the UFC. White was beyond frustrated. White didn't just cut him. He publicly ripped into Riddle for his lack of professionalism.
In the history of the world with fight promoters, okay? Now, the reason he's not in the UFC anymore is because he could not pass a drug test. The guy couldn't pass a drug test.
Making it clear that when it came to discipline, Dana wasn't playing around.
3 times a year, and you couldn't pass a drug test? You're so weak-minded and so addicted to marijuana that you couldn't stay off it enough to pass a drug test 3 times a year. Well, guess what, dummy? They drug test in the real world, too.
That was a direct hit to his core values. Contentious relationship with Chris Cyborg. Next, a prolonged, often bitter saga that spanned years. Dana White versus Chris Cyborg.
Dealing with her has been a nightmare the entire time she's been here.
This wasn't just a business dispute. It was a deeply contentious relationship
saying I don't want to fight her. This is liar.
That simmered with animosity. For years, White and Cyborg had a very public back and forth.
It's been a bad experience dealing with Cyborg.
Dana White's never stepped in the cage. He never fight before. He don't know how to be fighter life because he's the promoter.
It included highly controversial comments from White about her physical appearance.
When I saw her at the MMA Awards, she looked like Vanderlei Silva in a dress and heels. She got up and she was like, walking
constant disputes over fight negotiations, and even a row over edited videos.
First of all, I never came out and bullied or said anything about Cyborg. I was asked a question by the media.
That feud ultimately led to Cyborg leaving the promotion. It was a clash of titans, and Dana's anger was palpable throughout.
A letter to her team that she is free and clear to go wherever she wants. We're out of the Cyborg business.
Showing just how deeply personal these professional conflicts can become for him.
Opens up, spinning back, and he keeps his hand.
Anderson Silva's UFC 112 performance. Pure disgust. Imagine flying halfway across the world, promoting a massive fight, only for your champion to not show up. That's what happened at UFC 112.
with support like I've never, ever seen anywhere. And, I'm really embarrassed.
And Dana White was absolutely livid. In 2010, at UFC 112 in Abu Dhabi, Anderson Silva was defending his middleweight title against Damian Maia. Silva spent most of the fight showboating, clowning around, and refusing to engage, leading to a truly lackluster main event. He was so disgusted, he walked out during the main event. He famously refused to put the belt on Silva himself.
It's the first time that I've ever walked out on a main event and given the belt to the guy's manager and told him to put it on him.
Shoving it at his manager instead. That's not just anger. That's pure, unadulterated shame and rage. Elite XC's downfall. Sometimes, Dana White's anger isn't just about his own promotion. It's about tearing down the competition. And when Elite XC crumbled, Dana was there, shoveling dirt on its grave with relish. In 2008, street fighting sensation Kimbo Slice was the face of rival promotion Elite XC. When Kimbo suffered a shocking, quick knockout loss to Seth Petrozelli, Petrozelli later suggested he was paid extra not to take the fight to the ground.
And they gave me the money to stand and trade with him. They didn't want me to take him down. Let's just put it that way.
Dana White seized the opportunity. White went on a tirade, accusing Elite XC of corrupting MMA and celebrating their demise.
But you don't know the scumbag promoters behind the scenes went in and paid him to not go to the ground. They paid him to stand up.
It was a masterclass in aggressive, competitive fury, proving you don't mess with the UFC's vision.
Amazing they are, and you've got these boxing scumbags coming in and trying to fix fights. It's unbelievable.
The Ariel Helwani fallout. When it comes to media questions, Ariel Helwani has a reputation and not one Dana White respects.
Okay,
He's here. He's here now.
Right.
You got any questions about the fight?
For years, Helwani asked fighters questions that had nothing to do with the fight. Personal
They
issues,
didn't do right by you.
I don't understand. Because you play game.
behind-the-scenes drama,
People like that get slapped.
contract disputes, things that seem designed to piss them
Hold on,
off.
why you had to bring it up the way I lost tonight? You could have just said, fault John Jones. Why you had to just bring it up the way I lost?
Dana saw it as calculated a guy chasing headlines, not covering the
I
sport.
don't give a shit what Ariel Helwani thinks.
Fair enough.
The tension built up slowly until it finally exploded at UFC 199 in 2016. That's when Helwani leaked Brock Lesnar's surprise return for UFC 200, a massive reveal the UFC had spent months building up.
Can you see me now?
Dana White went ballistic. Helwani was banned on the spot, escorted out of the arena, and slammed publicly for ruining the UFC's momentum. Whether it was poking fighters or spoiling surprises, Helwani crossed a line Dana White doesn't forgive. And when Uncle Dana gets mad at you, he doesn't forget and he doesn't forgive. Explosions on media. Stupid questions trigger warning. Beyond Helwani, Dana White has a very low tolerance for what he deems stupid questions from the general media.
Any other stupid questions?
This is a recurring explosion, a constant source of his frustration. Walk into any UFC press conference, and if you ask a question Dana considers lazy, repetitive, or just plain dumb, be ready. He's not subtle about his displeasure.
No, I didn't say that. You said that.
He's mocked,
Fuck that guy.
shouted down,
Do your homework. Hey,
and publicly belittled reporters,
I don't give a fuck.
making it clear that if you're not on his level, you're going to feel his wrath.
any other stupid questions?
These are moments of pure, unfiltered press conference fury.
So you got a mind?
George St. Pierre's hiatus. Even his biggest stars aren't safe from Dana White's anger, especially when he feels they're not holding up their end of the bargain. Georges St. Pierre found that out the hard way. After a tough, controversial win over Johnny Hendricks at UFC 167 in 2013, GSP announced he was taking an indefinite break from fighting.
I need to hang up my glove for a little bit. At least make a point on my life.
White was visibly furious.
It's absolute 100% incompetence, and it needs to stop. It needs then. I'm scared to come back here and do fights.
White felt GSP was abandoning his responsibilities as champion.
You owe it to the fans, you owe it to that belt, you owe it to this company, and you owe it to Johnny Hendricks to give him that opportunity to fight again.
It was a deeply personal attack on a legendary fighter, born from White's absolute belief in what a champion's obligations are.
Whatever the hell it was that he was saying, that's not how it works. It doesn't work that way.
Mario Yamasaki refereeing. When fighters' safety is on the line, Dana White's anger can hit another level. Referee Mario Yamasaki learned that the hard way, becoming the target of one of White's most scathing public condemnations.
I think he's disgusting, and I never want to see him reffing ever again.
In 2018, at UFC Fight Night 125, referee Mario Yamasaki allowed Valentina Shevchenko to deliver a brutal, one-sided beatdown on Priscilla Cachoeira, taking far too long to stop the fight. White called for Yamasaki to be banned from MMA.
You moron, you're in there to protect her from herself.
His rage fueled by what he saw as a complete dereliction of duty that endangered a fighter. When it comes to protecting his athletes, Dana's temper knows no bounds.
And I promise you, you're not going to see him again.
The Tito-Ortiz feud. Few feuds have burned hotter or longer than Dana White versus Tito Ortiz. This wasn't just professional animosity.
Okay? Go over the fucking monkey cage and have a better interaction, you know, a more intelligent interaction with the monkeys at the zoo than the buffoon.
It was deeply, incredibly personal, spanning decades.
I absolutely would have won that boxing match.
From contract disputes to public insults, the relationship between White and the former light heavyweight champion was pure venom. White constantly called Ortiz out for being difficult and
Tito's just a really dumb human being. He's not intelligent at all. He's very, very fucking stupid.
They even publicly agreed to a boxing match at one point. The animosity with Ortiz was a constant, simmering anger for White.
And I started getting hatred towards him. I thought he was a best friend. I thought he was a friend, and you know, best friends never step over each other like that.
Proving that when someone gets under his skin, he holds onto that grudge like a pit bull. Oscar de la Hoya. Finally, a long-standing rival who has consistently brought out Dana White's most venomous anger.
Everybody in the arena was just ecstatic.
Boxing promoter Oscar de la Hoya. This feud is pure, unadulterated hatred.
This guy is not a fan of facts, and we all know this. First of all, let me start by saying this. I paid Chuck Liddell more money not to fight than Oscar de la Hoya paid him to.
White and de la Hoya have traded insults for years, with White often mocking de la Hoya's past struggles with substance abuse.
Cocaine isn't cheap. It's expensive. Gotta make money.
The animosity reached boiling point when de la Hoya promoted Chuck Liddell's disastrous comeback fight in 2018. White unleashed one of his most scathing, personal tirades ever.
He is a lying, two-faced, hypocritical sack of shit.
Accusing de la Hoya of exploiting fighters.
In the car that night, come with us and make more money than you've ever made in your life. We heard that before.
And being a disgrace.
It wasn't that moron. He's an asshole. I mean, how much more can I prove myself that this guy...
When Dana White despises you, he doesn't just critique, he eviscerates. Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather criticized Dana White for offering a low pay-per-view split for a potential fight between Mayweather and Conor McGregor. Mayweather also made derogatory comments about White's past, claiming White used to carry his bags.
Dana White used to hang around me and Jeff Mayweather and carry my bags.
Yes.
I remember Dana White, you know, I remember he used to carry my bags.
White was furious and responded by calling Mayweather a racist.
Racist comments, and yes, Floyd, you're racist with the stuff that you said.
For comments Mayweather made about Jeremy Lin.
He's a good player, but all the hype is because he's Asian. Black players do what he does every night and don't get the same praise. End quote.
White also criticized Mayweather for his lack of respect.
Don't worry about what all these other guys are doing and shooting your big mouth off on Twitter. Yeah, you don't deserve more of the purse.
And for making derogatory statements about Manny Pacquiao.
Manny Pacquiao should go make some sushi somewhere. Sushi's from Japan. He's from the Philippines, dummy.
Jake Paul. And finally, a more recent,
Don't even ask me about these idiots.
Ongoing source of pure irritation and dismissive fury for Dana White.
He's a pay-per-view turd.
The YouTube sensation turned boxer Jake Paul. Their beef is legendary.
And I didn't even know Jake Paul was fighting.
For years, Jake Paul has repeatedly called out UFC fighters, criticized fighter pay, and publicly challenged Dana White, often attempting to position himself as a voice for fighter rights. White, in turn, has consistently dismissed Paul as a clown and a gimmick.
That's not the business I'm in. I'm in a different business than that. I'm in the tough fight business.
Refusing to acknowledge him as a legitimate fighter or promoter. Whether it's over fighter pay, potential crossover fights, or just Paul's existence in the combat sports world, White's anger towards Jake Paul is a recurring, deeply exasperated rage. He's tired of the spectacle, and his fury is a constant reminder.
And I didn't even know Jake Paul was fighting.
And there you have it, the moments that pushed Dana White to his absolute limit. From banning fighters to tearing into promoters, one thing is clear. When Dana White gets angry, the entire world knows it. He's built the UFC on that same raw passion and intensity. Love him or hate him, you can't deny, he keeps things interesting. Which one of Uncle Dana's outbursts is your favorite? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more deep dives into the world of combat sports. See you next time.